Good evening and welcome to the American Heart Association's 2023 National Volunteer Awards event. Tonight is going to be a great night. I'm Sonia Azad, health and wellness reporter and micro-influencer, coming to you live from AHA's National Center in Dallas, Texas. We are broadcasting live on YouTube, so make sure you are signed into YouTube, and we would love to know where you are tuning in from this evening. Please comment and congratulate our awardees in the YouTube chat box throughout the show. We love to engage and interact together. Tonight, we will recognize 17 extraordinary volunteers. So let's get ready to have some fun, okay? Now, look, the one thing I know about AHA volunteers is they are always leading with light, profoundly impacting people's lives in so many ways. So let's show them your love and light tonight. Recognize our awardees on social media. Check out this hashtag, Awards with Heart, Awards with Heart. So we would love for you to post a photo from your watch party as well. Show us what you're up to tonight as you're tuning in. And let's see what people are saying on social media so far. We've got a congratulations to Jim. Your business savvy and innovative thinking have helped us to achieve our tremendous mission impact across the U.S. and around the world. So keep them coming. We do have people tuning in from all across the country as well. We've got people saying hello from the Bay Area. Well, hello, Venus, and everyone else from the Bay Area. Oh my gosh, aloha from sunny Hawaii. Lucky y'all. It has been so cloudy and kind of dreary in Dallas today. Thank you guys all for tuning in. So many people from coast to coast. We got a lot of Bay Area. Hello to our friends from San Francisco. Okay, one more. Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I see you. Okay. We want to welcome our hosts right now for the evening. So joining me are the American Heart Association Chairman of the Board, Ray Vara, President Dr. Michelle Albert, and Chief Executive Officer Nancy Brown. It's so good to see all of you. And Ray, I'll turn things over to you.
Great. Thanks so much, Sonia. We are so glad that you're able to join us again this year. We are all eager to witness these deserving volunteers receive recognition. I am honored to co-host with my dear friends and colleagues, Dr. Michelle Albert and Nancy Brown. We are deeply appreciative of our volunteers who are the lifeblood of the organization and who work tirelessly to ensure our mission is fulfilled.
That's right, Ray. All of our extraordinary volunteers, including those who will be recognized this evening, are the light who carries our torch forward. And of course, we have Nancy Brown's steadfast leadership lighting our path into the next century. Nancy, it's great to have you here tonight.
Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, Ray. And thanks, Sonia. I'm so grateful to all of you for helping to lead the way for this really important evening. The volunteers are the lifeblood of the American Heart Association. And boy, tonight we are honoring some of the best and brightest AHA volunteers from throughout the world. I know that we always look forward to this event to hear the compelling stories of compassion and meaningful change that volunteers make happen for the AHA. So we're going to have a special treat to hear from some people who know them best. And Sonia, I know that you will lead us through tonight, and we're so excited to get started. So I'll turn it back over to you.
Well, I'm so honored to be here. Thank you again for the invitation. Thank you to Ray, Michelle, and Nancy. So the first award presented tonight is the Voice of the Mission Award. So I'd like to welcome Dr. Valentine Fuster, who saved the life of AHA National Volunteer Star Jones.
It is my distinct honor to present the American Heart Association Voice of the Mission Award to a phenomenal woman, an attorney, journalist, author, and advocate who rose to fame as co-host of the program The View on ABC. I am talking of Star Jones. I first met Star as a patient in 2003, and eventually she underwent complex heart surgery. This is what I wrote in my patient notes after her first visit. Energetic, likes to talk, she appears to be in charge. It may be difficult to convince of what should be done about her health. Remarkably, about 3 months after the operation, Star reached out to the American Heart Association and asked how she could support the mission. Shortly thereafter, she filmed Celebrity Apprentice, and as team captain, helped her group raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for the AHA during the first episode. For 13 years, Star has used her voice and platform to raise awareness and research funding for cardiovascular diseases, which disproportionately impact Black women. She takes to heart her service as an AHA national volunteer and as an ambassador for Go Red for Women, inspiring all women everywhere to take charge of their health and well-being. As Star so often says, she who has health has hope, and she who has hope has everything. Star, congratulations on receiving the Voice of the Mission Award. I applaud you, I thank you, and I am so proud of you.
Hello, everyone. First and foremost, I really want to thank you from the bottom of my very healthy heart for this incredible honor. To receive the Voice of the Mission Award is truly humbling, and I'm so grateful to be standing virtually before you tonight, representing an organization that holds such immense importance in my life. When I first began my partnership with the American Heart Association, I really knew that I had found a purpose greater than myself. Heart disease has always affected Black and Brown people disproportionately. However, heart health advocates that looked like me were few and far between, which meant we were missing vital voices in the fight for awareness and action. Throughout my now 13-year-long involvement, I have witnessed the incredible impact that education, awareness, and support can have on individuals and communities, especially Black, Brown, and other underserved communities. I have seen firsthand that together we have the power to change and save lives. To that end, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the tireless efforts of everyone here today, especially all the former presidents and board chairs I've had the privilege of serving with as your national volunteer. You have all dedicated your lives to this cause, and your commitment and passion inspires me every single day. This award is a testament to your unwavering dedication and the incredible work that we have accomplished together. But there is one person in particular that I would be remiss if I didn't specifically acknowledge, and that's my girl, Nancy Brown. Nancy, you inspire us all through your hard work and steadfast commitment to the AHA mission to be a relentless force for the world of longer, healthier lives. My personal heart journey may have brought me to the AHA, but the AHA brought me to you. And I am eternally grateful for your friendship throughout the years. And I love you, sister. Now, my words of sincere thanks come from tonight's Voice of the Mission honoree. But remember, I am your national volunteer, and as such, I will never miss an opportunity to remind everyone here today that our work is far from over. I take this so seriously. I'm alive because of the work of the AHA. I got married to the love of my life because of the work of the AHA. I have a child who's going off to college because I'm alive to be here to participate. Heart disease continues to be the leading cause of death worldwide, and we cannot afford to let up in our efforts. I want every woman to have the opportunity to live a full life. So let's commit ourselves to raising awareness, advocating for research, and empowering individuals to take control of their heart health. Together, we can create a future where heart disease is no longer a silent threat, but a preventable and manageable condition. So let us unite in our shared mission to save lives, one beat at a time. Thank you again for this incredible honor. I'm deeply touched, and I promise that this recognition will be carried with great responsibility and dedication. Together, let's keep the hearts of our nation beating strong. Thank you again.
Oh my gosh, Stars got my makeup running already. Thank you so much for those beautiful words and for your dedication to this mission. We love you and your big and healthy heart as well. Okay, let's continue the celebration, y'all. Up next, we've got Dr. Jennifer Ashton, who will receive the Woman Changing the World Award. So this award recognizes Dr. Ashton's dedication to helping millions of people learn about their heart health. She's made a lasting impression around the nation. And here to present the award is someone very near and dear to her heart, her father, Dr. Oscar Garfien, who inspired her work in healthcare.
When Jennifer was little, she and her brother Evan often accompanied me on weekend rounds at the hospital. The nurses always gave them crayons and paper to draw. Most memorable was when they met the actress who portrayed the Wicked Witch of the West in The Wizard of Oz. The look on Jennifer's face was priceless. In college, Jennifer majored in art history and French. She expressed no interest in medicine, but what to my wondrous eyes should appear one evening at our home but Jennifer ascending the stairs of our house and telling me, I want to become a doctor. Who knew? She attended medical school at Columbia University, where she was class president for 4 years, had 2 children, received the Bartlestone Award for Excellence in Pharmacology, and was the class speaker at graduation. At the end of her residency, she was named Best Chief Resident. Today, she is a phenomenal physician and nationally known chief medical correspondent for ABC News. She is passionate about women's health, especially cardiovascular issues. Above all, she is a spectacular mother who has raised 2 loving, kind, warm, amazing, and successful people. Jennifer makes the Roadrunner look like a sloth. When she was younger, people would ask her, are you Dr. Garfien's daughter? Now they ask me, are you Jennifer Ashton's father? I am immensely proud of her and grateful to the American Heart Association for honoring her with the Woman Changing the World Award. Well deserved, Petunia.
Well, first, Star Jones got the waterworks started, and now I'm just a mess. That was an incredible surprise. I want to thank you, Dad, who is always in my heart, literally, in what I do. I also want to thank Nancy Brown, the American Heart Association board, and Dr. Michelle Albert for this incredible honor, which I have right here. You probably could tell a little bit from what my father said, even though he is prone to hyperbole and over-exaggeration, why this award means so much to me. I literally grew up speaking about cardiology at the dinner table. My father as a cardiologist, and his friends and colleagues, the likes of Dr. Myron Weisfeld, Dr. Sue Operl, legends in the world of cardiology and in the American Heart Association. And it was always of particular personal and professional interest in me. I didn't want to compete with my father, though, so I chose to specialize in OBGYN and women's health, something that he actually barely passed in medical school. So I had a little fun with that. And then went on to get a degree in nutrition and board certified in obesity medicine. When I found myself holding the title of ABC News chief medical correspondent and speaking to millions of people every single day, that's when I really became aware of how critical the messenger is along with the message. Every single year, I get emails from viewers who tell me, I was watching your segment on Good Morning America, recognized I was having symptoms of a heart attack, and you saved my life. That is how powerful our message in the American Heart Association is. Now, of course, it gives me pleasure to know that there is a big initiative started by the American Heart Association to really have synergy between women's health and heart health, which has been incredible for me to help get that message out. And this has really been a full circle process for me. I'm just getting started. We have a lot more work to do. And I wake up every single day feeling the honor and privilege and responsibility of the role I have in national network news and communicating that to people with their number one killer first and foremost to that message. So again, I want to thank you all for this award. It means the world to me. I'm incredibly moved. I want to congratulate the other honorees and express my profound respect for your careers and everything you have done and continue to do. And thank you for getting my father in front of a camera. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ashton. And if there's one thing he was not hyperbolic about, it's how much you inspire us. So thank you for all of your work as well. Our next awardee, Dr. Faluso Fakaridi, will receive the Louis B. Russell Jr. Memorial Award. Louis B. Russell Jr., a black school teacher, defied the odds, surviving more than 6 years after a heart transplant. This was back in 1968. He spread the message of hope and heart health across the U.S., inspiring others living with heart disease. Please welcome Dr. Dan Jones to present this award.
Good evening. It's my honor to recognize an incredible champion of heart health and fellow Mississippian, Dr. Faluso Fakaridi. Faluso has dedicated his work to serving patients with cardiovascular disease in the Mississippi Delta and is raising awareness of the high rate of diabetes-related amputations among Black Americans. He's a leader in the fight to prevent amputations and reduce racial disparities in amputations on a national level. In fact, his efforts have led to a decrease in amputation rates in the Mississippi Delta by more than 80% through providing educational resources and taking action to reach those most in need. That's why he's become known as a hope dealer for patients. He's also dedicated his efforts to supporting those living with peripheral artery disease and has partnered with religious organizations, farmers, mayors, educational institutions, and medical facilities to build a resilient local food system that provides economic opportunities and improved health outcomes. He was also instrumental in forming a bipartisan caucus in the U.S. Congress dedicated to raising awareness and providing support for peripheral artery disease at the federal level. Through this work, Faluso is saving limbs and saving lives. What's most impressive to me on a personal level is his decision to live and practice medicine in the Mississippi Delta. Raised in Nigeria and New Jersey and trained in the New York area, he chose to bring his skills to one of the most challenging areas of the country for racial, economic, and geographic health disparities. He's not just talking the talk, he's walking the walk. Please join me in congratulating Faluso Fakaridi as this year's Louis B. Russell Jr. Memorial Awardee.
Good evening, everyone. Hello from the Mississippi Delta. I'm honored and humbled to receive this award that is next to me. I want to first thank God and thank the American Heart Association for putting me amidst and amongst 16 other distinguished volunteers who I'm so honored to share the stage with tonight. So why Mississippi Delta? Well, let's go back to Louis B. Russell Jr. himself. The man was an educator. The man was all about informing to transform communities. And when I came to the Delta in 2015, what I saw was despair in terms of the high amputation rates. But I also saw an opportunity to carve out not only an awareness campaign, but to engage a community to welcome me with open arms. In spite of all the challenges they have faced, they have all exemplified courage and perseverance in the face of health injustice, and have shepherded and allowed me to be a steward to help bring about bridging the gaps in health inequities and help decreasing the amputation rates in this area. So why is this important? As the educator in Louis B. Russell would say, we need to talk about peripheral arterial disease, which is the most prevalent, the most chronic, the most deadly, and the least aware of all the cardiovascular diseases. And the American Heart Association has done a phenomenal job to help create a PAD National Action Plan where all stakeholders come in to discuss all the opportunities that we need to put on the table to help eliminate this preventable epidemic. The silent, violent epidemic that has spread, particularly in brown and Black communities, must come to an end. And I'm happy and honored to stare as a leader here in the community here in the Delta. I want to thank the community for not only loving on me, but also my teammates who have sacrificed, who are committed to excellence, who also have an unyielding resolve to make sure that what's at the best interest of every patient is met on a daily basis, but also that the community is also informed and educated with the resources that they need to become transformed. To any young person watching this tonight, greatness is measured in terms of service, not status, by how many people you serve, not how many people serve you. So use that opportunity to not only go out to your communities, but also to be humble servants in bringing about change and in dealing hope. And on behalf of all other underserved communities similar to here in the Delta, I want to say this. We are all sick and tired of being sick and tired. But we know that with advocates, with researchers, with educators, and with all the stakeholders that we have at the American Heart Association and beyond, we can all bring about change and eliminate this preventable disparity. So I'd like to thank Dr. Jones. I'd like to thank the voting committee. I'd like to thank my family, my friends, and everyone else that has been the wind behind my sails in terms of bringing about this effective change that we've seen here in the Mississippi Delta. I'm proud and humbled to present my community that is sharing with this award tonight. I love y'all, and let's continue to make good trouble necessary trouble. God bless.
Our next honor tonight is the Morgan Stark Memorial Award, bestowed to Linda Gooden. Marcia Jones, AHA chairperson of the board-elect, was there from the start to witness Linda's outstanding leadership in operational excellence. Let's hear from Marcia now.
After years of wanting to be a math teacher, Linda Gooden fell in love with computers. Little did she know that her newfound love for technology would help people live longer, healthier lives. This was especially poignant since she had lost several family members to heart disease in the past. I'm Marcia Jones, and I am honored to present my friend and fellow National Board member, Linda Gooden, with the American Heart Association's Morgan Stark Memorial Award, recognizing a national volunteer who has been an outstanding steward of AHA resources. Linda and I started volunteering with the association around the same time over 2 decades ago. Our volunteer careers have followed similar paths, and I have witnessed Linda's extraordinary impact. Her outstanding leadership has advanced the AHA's technology expertise through implementation of a multi-year cybersecurity enhancement program and selection of a new financial system to manage the AHA's significant growth. She has also helped launch the AHA's Environmental, Social, and Governance Report, which, as Linda says, shows how it all comes together in terms of the organization's purpose, how it treats and respects people, and how it manages sustainability. Her leadership is helping to build the future for the AHA with creativity and vision. Linda, I look forward to continuing our collaboration as board members, and I am confident that your friends and family all join me in applauding your remarkable accomplishments and inspiring commitment to health and well-being. Congratulations.
Good evening, and thank you.
It was Linda Gooden, right?
To board leadership positions, and now helping to keep the organizations and donors' information safe, because that's what the American Heart Association does for all of us. It keeps our hearts safe. Many members of my family suffer from high blood pressure, heart disease, and stroke. I wish they had been able to learn the type of things I've learned during my association with the American Heart Association. Things like the importance of knowing your family history, healthy eating, and a healthy lifestyle. And I wish they had access to the best care, no matter where they lived. Perhaps many of them would have been with us a little longer. I know that through volunteering with the American Heart Association, I can help support the most important thing I can think of, creating a world of longer, healthier lives for all of us, now and for the generations to come. Every person deserves the opportunity for a full and healthy life. We all have hearts, and as long as mine keeps beating, I will continue this journey for all the hearts that I love. And I am so grateful to be doing just that. Thank you for this incredible honor.
Tonight, we honor Doug Boyle with the Ron Haddock International Impact Award for his groundbreaking contributions to the AHA's global impact. Please welcome Jim Postal to present the award.
Doug, I am truly honored to present you with the American Heart Association's Ron Haddock International Impact Award. You and I share a deep career history at PepsiCo and then at Pennzoil Quaker State. And then you went on with Shell, where you not only built an impressive career in international and retail marketing, but also you brought that experience to advance AHA's global vision. Your guidance and leadership as chair of AHA's International Committee has been instrumental in expanding the association's presence in over 100 countries around the world. Under your leadership, many of the ideas and initiatives were set in motion, such as expanding our healthcare quality improvement programs in Dubai, in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, transforming Helping Children Survive into a digital training project, and envisioning the Intelligo professional education platform. Thanks to your strategic guidance, you have digitally transformed the international business, created a smoother customer experience, and increased the AHA's mission-aligned businesses' annual revenue five-fold to $50 million. Ron Haddock put AHA's international business on the map, Today, thanks to your leadership, AHA's overall portfolio is poised to have an impact on generations to come. As your successor, serving as chair of the International Committee, I know I have very large shoes to fill. Congratulations again, my friend.
Well, thank you for those very kind words, Jim, and I very much appreciate this beautiful award. It's been a real pleasure to support the mission internationally for the past decade. Things have really come a long way in that time, and it's great to see the important impact that we're having today. Now, in my view, most of this credit goes to the tremendous Heart Association staff who have persevered and adapted to a rapidly changing global environment. I mean, if you look back, international relations have changed in a not very positive way over the past 10 years, and it's become nearly impossible to operate as a foreign NGO in many countries. But the decision to focus on healthcare professionals and institutions was a very successful adaptation. These are constituencies that value the Heart Association science, and they provide a sustainable financial model. And we built this on a bedrock of strong relationships with our sister societies internationally, researchers, and institutions. Now, as we look going forward, and there is much to be done, in fact, nearly everything to be done, one of the challenges we face, and I look forward to continuing work on this, is how we reach beyond the wealthier countries to those with fewer resources. But it's a goal that I'm confident we can achieve with the right initiatives, the right business models, and sufficient scale. In closing, I'd like to really thank Ron Haddock for making this award possible, and to the entire international community for their efforts, including you, Jim. Take care.
Well, thank you so much to our awardees. Doug, Linda, we're sorry that some of you lost that feed. And if you lost her comments, we apologize for that. Hey, it's a live show. We're doing the best we can. And also, Dr. Fakaridi, wow, what an incredible watch party honoring Dr. Fakaridi, streaming in live from the Grammy Museum in Mississippi. I am truly, truly moved by all of your stories. So thank you all for your advocacy and dedication. I do want to check out what's happening on social media. Are you guys posting? I could use a few more tweets, I could tell you that. However, thank you to those of you who have started posting already. Do show us your watch party selfies, Mississippi folks. I do love one of the comments on YouTube from Justina. Congrats, Aunt Linda. I love that. Family love there. Thank you again to everyone. Eduardo Sanchez congratulating Doug. Very, very well deserved, he says. Marcella congratulating Linda as well. And we've got Dwayne. Linda, thank you for your selfless dedication to helping all people overcome one of the most deadliest diseases. We love you. So keep sending in those comments, keep posting, share with the world what we are all here to celebrate and who we're honoring tonight. We are going to take a little 60-second break for you, stretch out while learning about the AHA's health equity initiatives. But first, how well do you know our awardees? This is a really fun game here, y'all. You might be surprised to learn some pretty fun facts about them and little-known stories about their lives. We'll share a few now and some more later in the show. We'll be right back with an exciting group of awardees to present next.
What would our world look like if all people had the opportunity to be healthy? Health equity is at the center of our work, and we believe we are in perfect position to make historic advancements in equitable health through the power of our volunteers, donors, supporters, advocates, and communities. We're harnessing all of that power to achieve 10 bold actions. We call them our 10 commitments, and they're designed to remove key barriers to health equity. 2 years after launching the commitments, we have plenty of good news to share. We are encouraged, exhilarated, and excited by these results. But we're not letting up any of our commitments. With your ongoing support, more and more people will have the opportunity to be healthy and enjoy longer, healthier lives.
But guess what? These that are being posted from the American Heart Association account on the YouTube thread, so you got to check some of these out. This one's great. Dr. Jennifer Ashton got a scallion stuck up her nose at age 4 and landed in the ER. Okay. I am not making this up. Discover more about what makes our awardees stand out on YouTube guide right now on heart.org. Okay, spread the love for tonight's awardees on social media. Use that hashtag #AwardsWithHeart. You can grab YouTube. And don't forget about that YouTube chat box where the audience, y'all are writing wonderful comments. Thank you so much for staying with us here. Okay, now it is time to honor 6 outstanding individuals with awards of meritorious achievement, all of whom have made significant contributions to their communities and beyond. First, we'd like to honor Bank of America. Dr. Regina Benjamin will present the award, and Christine Katzif will accept on behalf of Bank of America.
Recently, Christine Katzif, Bank of America's Chief Audit Executive, hosted and moderated a fireside chat with Nancy Brown and I to educate their 200,000 employees on health equity and women's health. Additionally, as part of their onboarding, all new BOA employees learn hands-only CPR. These are just 2 examples of Bank of America's commitment to its employees and their families. I'm Dr. Regina Benjamin, 18th United States Surgeon General and member of the AHA Board of Directors. Tonight, I'm proud to present Bank of America with the American Heart Association's Award for Meritorious Achievement for advancing equitable health in local communities. The COVID pandemic sadly highlighted the disparities in healthcare access. This inspired Bank of America to invest $25 million in a 4-year collaboration for equitable health. Bank of America convened the American Heart Association, American Diabetes Association, American Cancer Society, and the University of Michigan School of Public Health to form this innovative initiative to improve health outcomes in communities of color. Champion health equity starts at the top, and we would like to thank Brian Monahan, Chair of the Board and CEO, Christine Katzif, Chief Audit Executive, Ebony Thomas, Foundation President, and Kimberly Harris, Senior Vice President, Foundation Program Executive, and so many more. It is my honor to present Bank of America with the American Heart Association's Award for Meritorious Achievement. Accepting this award is Christine Katzif. Congratulations, Bank of America.
to address this issue because everybody deserves the opportunity to be healthy and to be able to achieve their potential. So we've had a long-standing partnership with the American Heart Association. We support their work through grants and board involvement, and I'm extremely proud of our volunteerism, especially given tonight's about volunteerism. Over the last 5 years, my teammates at Bank of America have given more than 50,000 volunteer hours to the AHA. And then, as Dr. Benjamin mentioned, last year, we announced our Signature Health Initiative, which is a 4-year, $25 million effort to advance health outcomes for communities of color. So I know everyone is here tonight because, like those of us at Bank of America, you believe that we have to improve access to healthcare so that no one is disadvantaged from being healthy because of who they are. And we are very proud to partner with American Heart Association on this important work. Thank you so much for this honor. Thank you for your commitment. And again, congratulations to the esteemed award winners tonight.
Our next awardee, Alan Doherty, will be presented by Ed Fisher.
It's my honor to recognize my colleague and friend, Dr. Alan Doherty, with the American Heart Association's Award of Meritorious Achievement. In July of 2012, I passed the torch to Alan as editor-in-chief of the Arteriosclerosis, Thrombosis, and Vascular Biology Journal, or known to most of us in the scientific community as ATVB. To say Alan excelled at his job is an understatement. His scope, energy, and passion for science was an inspiration to the editorial team, and they expanded the journal's reach and influence, especially in the areas of rigor and reproducibility, leading the way for all of the AHA journals. Alan did this amazingly well and without compromise to his day job, actually day jobs at the University of Kentucky, where he is not only Associate Vice President for Research, he's also Director of the Saha Cardiovascular Research Center and Chair of the Physiology Department. He even found time to serve and lead numerous AHA committees and has been central to supporting AHA scientific conferences. Alan is also a very distinguished researcher, particularly in the area of aortic aneurysms, as reflected, for example, by his recent George Duff Lecture Award. So Alan, as they say in your native England, well done, my friend, and I look forward to having an old hooky beer with you soon. I would be remiss if I didn't mention your wife, Deb, whose support over the years has helped make your great achievements possible. Please join me in congratulating Alan with this year's Award of Meritorious Achievement.
Well, greetings from Kentucky, and I'm truly honored to be the recipient of this award, and especially to have the introduction from a very close friend, Ed Fisher. You know, my own road with the AHA started way over 30 years ago. It's like so many cardiovascular researchers, you know, it's been an organization that's really been pivotal to our professional development in so many facets. I mean, it's included, you know, activities of reviewing grants, organizing conferences, you know, advocacy at state and federal levels, and just many, many meaningful committees, many of which I had the joy of sharing with Ed on these. Probably best of all is the development of networks that really have formed substantive, personal, as you can see, as well as, you know, professional relationships across the scientific spectrum of fellow scientists, trainees, and staff. So this specific award relates to publishing, a really pivotal aspect of our research community. You know, we are fortunate that the AHA has a protracted and deep commitment to being at the frontier of distributing really high quality and impactful research information. You know, I myself was extremely fortunate to live the dream to serve as the editor of the ATVB journal. You know, the AHA journals and ATVB specifically have kind of loomed pretty large in my career. In my office behind me here, you know, in the office behind me is actually every edition of the journal that's been published since 1981, almost. So to be the editor of this well-known journal was a great honor, a great challenge, and quite intimidating. I was fortunate to be assisted by a really great group of editors. The senior editors actually included the current highly capable editor, Anne-Marie Schmidt, who's a colleague of Ed Fisher's at NYU. The other senior editors and friends, we met every Wednesday morning for almost our entire 10 years. We were joined at each of these meetings with the AHA editorial staff, who I would say participated in a time zone needing them to be up rather early in the morning. So I really thank all of these individuals for their steadfast support. So as I reiterate, I really appreciate this award. I thank the individuals that have participated in the AHA Journal at every facet on it. And, primarily, I'd like to thank the AHA for providing me with such a rich array of enriching professional activities. Thank you so much.
Next, let's welcome John Porter to present the Award of Meritorious Achievement to Dave Kapaska.
Congratulations, Dr. K. I'm pleased to honor you with the American Heart Association's Award of Meritorious Achievement. Dave, your servant's heart and passion to champion quality care for all people is indeed extraordinary. As a defender of access to care, you expanded telehealth services so patients can easily access healthcare services irrespective of their location. You also implemented remote patient monitoring and increased access to providers while reducing costs to care. Your focus on Medicaid expansion in South Dakota is unrivaled. You have helped constituents understand that access to care is a major barrier for many people living in rural areas. Thanks to your advocacy, countless South Dakotans are living healthier lives. An estimated 43,000 South Dakotans will now be covered by the Medicaid expansion, adding to over 20 million low-income Americans nationwide already insured by the Medicaid expansion since the program took full effect in 2014. Your compassionate attitude and continuous curiosity are truly inspiring, and I am in awe of your unique ability to engage a wide range of people from all walks of life. You are so deserving of this award of meritorious achievement. Congratulations, my friend.
Well, thanks so much, John, for that kind introduction and for all the years that we've been able to work together. I also want to thank the American Heart Association for extending me this prestigious award of meritorious achievement, which I'm supposed to show you absolutely. So here you go. And I'm honored. I'm certainly honored and humbled by the recognition, but the essence of such an accomplishment comes from two things. First, a significant problem to be solved. And second, a common commitment from many talented people to find that solution. The problem for us, as John noted, was limited health access for about 43,000 plus hardworking, low-income South Dakotans. The potential solution, Medicaid expansion, which is federally supported and had been approved in 39 other states, and which could ensure health access for all our friends and neighbors. Many passionate people across our state had been working on Medicaid expansion here for more than 10 years to no avail. But this was our moment. By initiating a constitutional amendment guaranteeing Medicaid expansion, we formed a cabinet of key statewide advocates and affiliated with experts at the American Heart Association, the American Cancer Society, AARP, and many other organizations advocating to and with our many partners and friends throughout the state. We were armed with key testimonies from several uninsured working patients with overwhelming diagnoses, causing severe clinical, emotional, and financial challenges for them and their families. We also pulled together the broadest and biggest coalition of support of a ballot initiative in the history of South Dakota. After a long, tireless campaign throughout our vast state, Amendment D passed with 58% support on November 8th of 2022. Ah, sweet success. All our friends and neighbors in South Dakota now have access to the marvelous health care available in our region and when they need it. And that is what we are fighting for. It was an honor to be a part of this campaign and to stand alongside so many other volunteers who also deserve to be recognized for their efforts. I'm especially honored to have been a part of this effort, not only to increase access, but to truly save lives. It's really a pleasure. So thank you so much to the American Heart Association, to all of my colleagues and volunteers that helped us push this through, and especially to my family, my wife, Mary Ann, and children who have always been open to giving up my family time to be able to help others' lives be a little bit better. So thank you for that, and God bless.
Our next Award of Meritorious Achievement recipient is Ileana Pina. Joining us to say a few words is Dr. Bram Zuckerman.
It is my great pleasure to present the esteemed Dr. Ileana Pina with the American Heart Association's Award of Meritorious Achievement. Dr. Pina has been an unsung hero. For more than 2 decades, I have observed Ileana's impact, particularly on those beginning to explore the field of healthcare. Ileana's overall commitment to the American Heart Association is extraordinary. In her 40 years as a volunteer leader, she has been integral in the organization's success. Always on the ready to provide career-enhancing opportunities, she spearheaded the AHA's Council on Clinical Cardiology's high school outreach program, allowing students from diverse backgrounds in under-resourced communities to explore careers in science and research. Ileana is positively influencing these young minds, and their feedback is glowing. They collectively and consistently say they are so grateful to have the opportunity to gain knowledge about a career in healthcare. Ileana spearheaded the American Heart Association's Fellows in Training program to those new to the field. I have worked with Ileana in her role as a senior medical reviewer in the FDA Office of Cardiovascular Devices for 2 decades. She has been an invaluable asset and made many important contributions to the FDA. She is well known throughout the entire heart failure community. Ileana, I know your fans, friends, and family all join me in applauding your remarkable accomplishments and influence on today's and tomorrow's cardiovascular clinicians and researchers. Congratulations.
Thank you, Bram. If we're going to have tears, this is a good time to do it. I am truly surprised. First of all, I want to congratulate all the other awardees tonight for all their contributions and their hard work. And I want to thank my daughter, Victoria, who has always been by my side supporting my love of the American heart. I really want to also share this award with Dr. Rick Page, who is currently the dean at the University of Vermont. And had been thinking way ahead. He was thinking way ahead of all of us about what are we going to do with, the underserved minorities who may not be coming into medicine or into science because they simply think they can't. And we looked at the data carefully, and we saw that there were a lot of dropouts between even medical school or college and medical school. And then within medical school, we were seeing a lot of dropouts, and we said, hey, we got to go back further to get these individuals interested in science. So we dropped all the way back to high school. And his thinking was, let's do it during sessions in the cities where we are. All the big cities have underserved populations, kids who may never have had the opportunities in the underserved minorities. And so we started with juniors who were interested in science, partner with the school system with the help of staff. Staff has always been by our side. And we did it at least through Philadelphia, which was right before the pandemic. When the kids came in with their teachers, there were a set at separate tables. We taught them CPR. We took them down to the poster sessions so that they could see science in the making and get to talk to some of the investigators who had actually started the science. And it was wonderful just to see their faces lighting up. Everyone that I asked to help us with this, because when Rick moved on to another position, he charged me with this and he said, don't give it up, keep doing it, this is worthwhile. And anyone that I asked to come in, my friends, my colleagues, said yes. And we sat there and talked to them in panels, showing them that we weren't born with silver spoons in our mouths. We weren't born bright. We had to work, but that work could get you there. And to get them enthused with the science, we didn't just dedicate it to medicine. We had other scientific specialties there as well. And then that translated to my wanting to get the fellows involved and the fellows early. We need to get these young minds early, get them working early, and get them to have that passion that I share on this mission. It's been a long haul. We're still pushing, and we're not going to give it up. And I want to thank the American Heart, Nancy, and the board for allowing me to be on the board for all these few years, and I've really enjoyed it. And all the other things that we do that really show up, but they show up in our young, and we want to keep it that way. Bram, thanks again for being here. You really did surprise me. Have a good evening, everyone.
Our final Award of Meritorious Achievement this evening goes to two incredible honorees, Lynn Starrett and Dr. Kulini Gabreas, presented by AHA Volunteer President Dr. Michelle Albert.
I'm incredibly honored to present Lynn Starrett and Dr. Kulini Gabreas with the American Heart Association's Award for Meritorious Achievement. Lynn and Kulini are a formidable team, working together to promote health equity in the workplace and beyond. Lynn is a consulting leader and managing principal for the life sciences and healthcare practice at Deloitte. She's a fellow AHA Bay Area board member and leader in the Western states who have worked alongside for years. During this time, we've had sustained and impactful opportunity to discuss and strategize about important issues pertaining to health equity needs of communities and what would be most helpful for partnerships. Kulini is the U.S. Chief Health Equity Officer at Deloitte and founding executive director of its Health Equity Institute, which partners with organizations to advance health equity through investments, data insights, and knowledge sharing. So it is no serendipity when Lynn and Kulini united to create positive change through the AHA. What began as a conversation about health equity in the workplace evolved into a groundbreaking, data-driven strategic collaboration between the American Heart Association, the Society for Human Resources Management Foundation, and Deloitte Health Equity Institute. The Health Equity in the Workforce Initiative convenes employers and community organizations and provides tools to measure impact and recognize achievements to inspire change across the business landscape. The initiative aims to enable positive health outcomes for 10 million US workers by 2025. As both of these women know, health equity is not only a public health issue, but also is a healthcare and life science organization, as well as a business issue. Together, they are working to ensure that everyone has equitable access to health resources that improve and saves lives. So please join me in celebrating this dynamic duo. Congratulations to you both.
Wow, well, that was a surprise. Michelle, that was lovely. Thank you so much for the thoughtful words and your message. It's been so fun to collaborate with you on this. Both Kaleni and I are humbled to be recognized by the American Heart Association for this meritorious award. We sit in front of you as just two individuals, but we really represent an entire network of Deloitte Health leaders that are passionate about equitably elevating human potential. And we take that work so seriously and are so grateful that Deloitte as a firm is equally passionate about aligning purpose and profit, starting with our global CEO, Joe, and our US CEO, Jason. Without their generous support and the purpose office that we have at Deloitte, we would never be able to activate this ambition that we have of 10 million employers. And the health equity through the employers would not have been impossible. So my work around heart and stroke started as a pediatric nurse in Chicago, where I saw that the outcomes of health equity were more likely decided by a child's zip code rather than their DNA. And I was also inspired by my brother's congenital heart defect that took my mother away from our family for several months at a time because the care he needed, he could not receive in the rural location that we lived in. And so as I transition into the business of health, I look at my ability to use my CPR hands-on skills as I do around the globe, traveling, hundreds of thousands of miles across the country every year. And it does come in handy as I've resuscitated several people either in airplanes or in airports. But around, like all of you, like my volunteering with the AHA started in the local community that Michelle mentioned, and serving on the Bay Area board for 6 years. And it's such a progressive board, like how they took the complicated landscape of health and driving real change. There's also the opportunity that I got to work with Michelle, who's such an inspiration for making you want to do more and more and contribute it in a more meaningful way. And I also consider Michelle a friend now. And that allowed me to be able to serve on the American Stroke Association National Committee. And this personal call to action that Michelle talked about really was like, I knew we could do something more impactful with AHA and Deloitte, and that we could elevate it at the national level around health equity. And I was so grateful to Nancy, Gerald, Julie, and the whole AHA team, which is so talented, the group of leaders, Nancy, that you've assembled around our cause. A special thank you to my co-recipient, Kaleni. A big thank you to my husband, Zane, my children, Zach and Sydney, who provide me my why. And a special shout out to all the dads out there. A happy pre-Father's Day.
Well, Lynn, you've taken so many of the words and the sentiment that I want to share, but I'll just add a few of my own and start by thanking you, Michelle, for such kind and generous sentiments. And also thank the AHA leadership and the board for this incredible honor and real recognition of our shared commitment to health equity. Lynn, you've been a friend, mentor, and colleague on this journey and couldn't have asked for a better partner. Now, all of you know, though, in this work, while Lynn and I are here representing the work that the Health Equity Institute is doing, the real work is driven by the practitioners and leaders at all levels in our firm who work every day to create sustainable impact for our clients, for society, for one another, and really for us as a firm. Specifically, I'll shout out to the practitioners in the life sciences and healthcare practice across all our business units and the leaders in our Health Equity Institute and our purpose office. So Asif Dar, Jay Bott, Nicole Kem, Matthew Pilch, thank you for everything you're doing. Quick personal story in terms of how much this means to me. Grew up in Ethiopia in the midst of the famine in the 80s. I'm telling you my age. And there I saw live and well how the social determinants of health, we at Deloitte like to call them the drivers of health because we don't believe they're final determinants, the social, economic, environmental factors that impact not just the quality of life for every child, man, woman, person, but the life expectancy as well. When I grew up, it was gender norms, it was poverty, it was widespread drought that impacted people. It's also my first window into seeing the root cause of all causes, the political and policy decisions that impact every individual's ability to achieve their full potential. And that's when I took up the helm as a public health professional, then a clinician, and now as a business advisor, which, as Lynn mentioned, our commitment is to aligning purpose and profit. So sometimes this problem seems so big and so much larger than any single one of us. What do we do and how do we approach it? And that's where this partnership with AHA and Society for Human Resources Management and Deloitte Health Equity Institute comes in. Real link, aligning purpose and profit. Healthy businesses require a healthy workforce. A healthy workforce only comes from healthy individuals. Healthy individuals lead healthy families, and healthy families mean healthy and thriving communities. So I'm humbled to receive this award, and I would say that we can all act on the motto of good business and good health go hand in hand. And there's no better way to align our hearts and our minds as we do this work together. So thank you, AHA.
Well, thank you both so much. And I love that, the drivers of health. I wrote that down to remember it myself. And I just saw a comment come through YouTube from Julie, summarized perfectly what impactful work. Indeed it is. And we are delighted to honor Bank of America, Alan, Dave, Ileana, Lynn, and Kaleni with the Awards of Meritorious Achievement. I'd like to take a moment to recognize their incredible work as well. You guys have kind of started doing this already, but go ahead and give them another little shout out, show them some love, type in the YouTube chat box, maybe a word or a phrase that really captures their contributions as you see it. We've got one comment from Marielle saying, congratulations, Ileana, so well deserved for years of your passion given to the AHA. So thank you for that. And we've got our friends from Hawaii Pacific Health saying congratulations to Lynn and Dr. Kaleni Gabreas for inspiring positive change with your groundbreaking initiative to reduce healthcare disparities in the workplace and beyond. So keep the comments coming. It's going to make our awardees feel good. It's going to make all of us feel good. And of course, it's going to make this whole thing feel like we're one tight-knit, happy family across all the screens that we've got between us right now. We still do have several incredible volunteers to recognize, including our Gold Heart awardees. So first, let's see some more of those fun facts about our awardees, shall we? And then we're going to take a moment to reflect on specifically women's health. So we'll see you right back here in about 90 seconds.
As we launch American Heart Month, we must be inspired by the strength of our determination to protect our hearts. Shall we begin?
Cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer of women, and the more you can draw attention to it, the more you can change the world for women.
I'm here supporting the American Heart Association because my grandma's currently recovering from a stroke.
My mother has heart disease, and I've seen the struggles she's been through.
Younger women really need to be aware that cardiovascular disease is the greatest health threat so that they can start to take action and protect their hearts.
We think we have time or that it won't affect us, but the truth is, heart disease and stroke can affect anyone at any age.
I had an episode myself that I did not expect. I've never had health issues. I want women to hear my story and to take action.
I'd like to take a moment to recognize and honor all of the courage and strength of survivors of cardiovascular disease, as well as their families, friends, and loved ones.
So much star power there. I love it. So inspirational. And that's a word I keep seeing on the YouTube chat box, inspired, inspiring. I love this comment, by the way, that from Lewis. No other organization has the blessing of this caliber of volunteers. Very humbling. Thank you for that comment. It is so true. And by the way, did you see those interesting factoids about our awardees? I mean, really, the closest calling one the hostess with the mostest. I want to hear more about that story, okay? By the way, you can actually get a deeper dive on these fun facts on YouTube and the digital program guide. You'll find that on heart.org. And we are loving, of course, all of the engagement tonight on YouTube and across social media. A reminder, do use that hashtag #awardswithheart as you give heart hands to our awardees tonight, including our next awardee. Let's welcome Tammy Shepard, a very special presenter, to recognize Linda Lambert with the AHA Healthcare Volunteer of the Year Award.
My family's relationship with Linda began nearly 18 years ago when my son Jackson was born with hypoplastic left heart syndrome. Linda was the nurse practitioner working with his surgeon who performed 3 surgeries in the first 2 years of Jackson's life. For almost 2 decades, Linda cared for not just our son, but for our whole family, offering advice, trusted information, or sometimes just a reassuring hug. Linda is like a member of our family. It is deeply personal to present Linda with the American Heart Association Healthcare Volunteer of the Year Award. 7 years ago, Linda encouraged me to serve on a family advisory board for the High-Risk Parent Advisory Committee at Primary Children's Hospital Heart Center in Salt Lake City, Utah. Through this experience, I saw up close and personal how Linda advocates for kids. In her countless hours of services, she's continually trying to make the care and outcomes for these kids better. She also mentors the next generation of pediatric, cardiac, and nursing researchers and inspires researchers studying congenital and acquired heart disease. She has co-authored nearly 100 peer-reviewed research papers on pediatric cardiovascular health and topics on COVID-19's cardiovascular complications in children and young adults. As a leader in the Council on Cardiovascular and Stroke Nursing, she's not only a driving force in the Pediatric Cardiovascular Nursing Committee, but also represents the nurse's voice as a leader on the Young Hearts Council. Linda, congratulations on an extraordinary honor as AHA Healthcare Volunteer of the Year Award. You will always have a special place in my heart.
Wow, that was an amazing surprise. Thank you, Tammy, for your kind words. It's been a pleasure working with you and your family. And Jackson, I just love him so much. I'd also like to thank the American Heart Association for selecting me for the National Healthcare Volunteer Award, and specifically the AHA Young Hearts Council for their nomination. I am truly honored to be among such remarkable individuals and congratulate them all. I would be remiss if I did not specifically recognize Drs. Ed McGue and the late John Hawkins, both pediatric cardiothoracic surgeons at Primary Children's Hospital here in Salt Lake City. They laid the foundation early on in my career, supporting and pushing me beyond what I thought I was capable of, not only in helping me to understand the complexities of the congenital heart population, but in the research realm as well. Through research, we've been able to improve outcomes, quality of life, and the ability for these children to live to adulthood. Realizing, of course, that there is just still so much to be done. I've had tremendous support and mentorship, not only at the University of Utah, but across the United States and internationally, working in collaboration with surgeons, cardiologists, and critical care physicians, and most importantly, my nursing colleagues. I've truly had an amazing career caring for children and their families for over 35 years. I feel very fortunate and am grateful to everyone who has been a part of my journey. Thank you again for this incredible honor. I am deeply touched and humbled.
The AHA Physician of the Year Award goes to Dr. Manesh Patel and will be presented by Dr. Rob Califf.
It's such an honor and privilege to congratulate Manesh Patel as American Heart Association Physician of the Year. I still remember when Manesh arrived at Duke as an intern, worked through his fellowship, went on to a faculty position in the Duke Clinical Research Institute, and served as an amazing clinician during all that time. Manesh is a rare talent. He's the kind of person that I always look for as a leader in our health system. Most importantly, and above all else, he's a compassionate, caring, and competent clinician. He's not only great at talking with patients and families, but you can depend on Dr. Patel when there's a need to get an artery open and to have it done in a technically competent manner. But he's also a leader in cardiovascular medicine at every level, the institutional level, the local, and the national level. And he's always thinking creatively. He's always looking for that next important thing that will drive the field, help our patients even more, and help our other clinicians and our staff. He's really sort of aware of all these things at the same time. It's quite remarkable. One characteristic that I really cherish in Manesh is that he's a mentor. If you look at the people that have come along behind him, he's helped so many people, looked after them, advanced their careers, and they've gone on to do great things. I always thought the best mark of a person in medicine is not the work of the person, but it's the work of all the people who came along afterwards who exceeded what that person could do. And then finally, Manesh, through all this, is a family person. This is noted in the write-up from the American Heart Association, but his wife, Sally, is an amazing force. They work together as a team. They accomplish great things in medicine and have raised a tremendous family. So Manesh, congratulations. Can't imagine a better suited person for this physician award.
Wow. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and greetings from North Carolina. I really want to thank Rob Califf for a truly surprising and kind introduction. I'm deeply honored and humbled by this award. To be recognized by the American Heart Association and its values for ensuring equitable health for all is really inspiring and provides me with at least a moment of reflection and appreciation. To be a doctor is to continue to learn and to teach, and as you've heard tonight, to serve. I want to express my gratitude to those who've taught me, the numerous teams, staff, and colleagues who provide support and teach me every day, and to our residents and fellows whose curiosity and desire to learn is motivating. I'm also grateful to my patients who entrust me with caring for them through illness and health. I'm appreciative to my mentors, of which there are many, and who've been role models and shown me the joy of seeing others' success. You've heard from Dr. Califf, Bob Harrington, Pam Douglas, others who've helped me since I was a fellow and given me opportunities. I hope to be able to continue to pay this type of mentorship forward. To my family, my wife, my kids, thank you for the understanding, selflessness, the daily dinner time stories and downloads, and most of all, the unconditional love. I'm blessed to have my parents with me tonight. Thank you for believing in me when I think there were many times I'm not sure you should have, and for teaching me the value of hard work, service, and helping others. And finally, I would be remiss if I didn't take a moment to recognize the American Heart Association, a scientific and professional home for me since I was in training. I want to appreciate the many people of the American Heart Association, from the local Triangle staff I get to work with, the national staff, and the leadership teams that starts with our great and amazing CEO, Nancy Brown, Mariel Jessup, our AHA board, and President Michelle Albert. Thank you all for advocating and building an inclusive community, a community that strives to be a relentless force for longer, healthier lives for all by bringing science to life. So I'm sincerely grateful to the American Heart Association and to our community, and most importantly, the ability to live a life of purpose and service. So thank you all for this incredible honor, and I congratulate and appreciate the other honorees.
Our next two awards honor outgoing volunteer leaders of the association. Please welcome AHA President-elect Dr. Joe Wu to present the first award.
It is my pleasure and honor to present to my dear friend, Dr. Michelle Albert, the AHA Distinguished National Leadership Award. I have known Michelle for over 10 years, and I have the deepest respect for Michelle as a physician, a mentor, and a leader. As a physician, Michelle sees cardiovascular patients, many of whom may not otherwise see a heart doctor who looks like them or can relate to them. As a mentor, Michelle is highly sought after by trainees and junior faculty, not just at UCSF, but throughout the country. And as a medical school dean of admissions at UCSF, Michelle is helping to create a more diverse workforce for future doctors. Now, some of you may not know that Michelle also holds the honor and distinction of being the first person in history to concurrently serve as president of 3 distinguished cardiovascular medical societies, the American Heart Association, the Association of Black Cardiologists, and the Association of University Cardiologists. The French writer Voltaire once said that with great power comes great responsibility. And here I have witnessed firsthand Michelle making use of this great power for a great cause. Michelle has devoted countless hours in advocating for the core mission of the AHA. And among these priorities, the question of how to improve diversity, equity, and inclusiveness, especially for the underserved population, is paramount. When I listen to Michelle, it is quite rewarding for me personally, indeed humbling and instructive to learn from Michelle on why these issues are so important for our society today and future. Congrats again, Michelle, for receiving the AHA Distinguished National Leadership Award. I am so happy for you.
Thank you, Joe. It is wonderful to call you my dear friend as well. And I have to say, it is with a heart filled with deep gratitude that I'm honored to receive this Distinguished Leadership Award today. For me, AHA is a special place with an exceptional group of staff and volunteers who, as an unstoppable team, turn relentless action into impact. I feel truly blessed to have the opportunity to help lead this amazing organization as the 2022 to 2023 president. And I'm particularly humbled and honored to serve as the first woman of color and Black female president of the American Heart Association. I hope that my ongoing volunteerism and leadership encourages others who may feel like outsiders because of a disability, how they look, think, or even who they choose to love, to become passionately involved in issues they care about. AHA's broad-based global reach and measurable impact on the most pressing cardiovascular, brain, and other issues in all communities is crucial and indeed inspiring. And the organization's commitment to communities and to funding meaningful science that has potential to make a difference, particularly around health and other inequities, is my AHA why. A special thanks to God, my family, especially my husband Ed, my mother Carmen, my sister Maxine, and my aunts Walda and Audrey, along with my AHA family, especially Nancy Brown, who, as you all know, is an outstanding leader and mentor. The local Bay Area board, AHA board, who've supported me through thick and thin, as well as the Western State Board, my mentors, mentees, and colleagues at UCSF for your support. I want to end with a Maya Angelou quote as follows, quote, "Love recognizes no barriers. It jumps hurdles, leaps fences, penetrates walls to arrive at its destination, full of hope," end quote. To me, AHA means love and magic each and every day. Thank you, and congratulations to all of the other awardees for this incredible, incredible evening. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Dr. Albert. And by the way, your Bay Area crew is sending you all that love right back via YouTube. Thank you all for your comments. And now, incoming chairperson of the board, Marcia Jones, will present the Distinguished National Leadership Award to outgoing chairman of the board, Ray Vara.
Ray Vara is a powerful voice for the millions of Americans at risk for cardiovascular disease and stroke. His passion and purpose for helping others is personal, as heart disease claimed his parents and only sister. I'm Marcia Jones, and it is my honor to present my colleague and friend with AHA's Distinguished National Leadership Award. Ray Vara is President and Chief Executive Officer of Hawaii Pacific Health, in Honolulu, Hawaii, and a longtime volunteer at all levels of the organization. Serving as chairman of the National Board since 2021, Ray has led the association to new heights, not only in the United States, but globally. While his accomplishments are far too many to list here tonight, I'll highlight a few. Under Ray's leadership, the AHA was relentless in achieving its 2024 impact goal, removing barriers to healthcare access and quality, and seeing tremendous success towards its 10 commitments anchored around this goal. Recognizing the pace of innovation and transformation, Ray furthered the association in embracing change, establishing robust operating and fundraising models, and investing in strategic research to make significant mission impact. Ray is a champion of the underserved, from advocating for Medicare expansion to supporting tobacco policies for a smoke-free generation to inspiring social entrepreneurs to transform communities. Ray helped the AHA establish an incredible foundation as we carry our torch into our next century of impact. Ray, our future achievements will be shaped by the strength of the foundations that you have helped to set. Thank you for your commitment to excellence. Your AHA family wishes you congratulations and the sincerest mahalo.
Thanks so much, Marcia. What a kind introduction, and I have to tell you, this recognition is a tremendous honor, especially as I've gotten the opportunity to enjoy this evening and hear the stories of the other awardees and the impact that they're making in their communities across the country. And so, for that, I'm deeply appreciative. You know, I've had the good fortune, as Marcia shared, that I've gotten to serve at various levels throughout the American Heart Association. I've gotten to work with my local community. I've gotten to work at the affiliate and regional level, obviously served on some national committees and ultimately serve on the national board. And when I think about, you know, what the things are that bind those experiences together and make it so special and even more so impactful, it's that we're centered on a common mission, a mission that has power, a mission that is makes a difference each and every day. You know, it's executed by talented people all across the country, both starting, of course, with Nancy Brown, that you've heard that a lot, but it's certainly due credit. Nancy's leadership has been phenomenal, and the team that she has built, but also the volunteers that make the AHA what it is. And I think the other piece that really binds that together are the relationships that are formed as a result of that work and that effort towards a common good. You know, during my term as chairman, I've gotten to witness a number of things. You know, certainly I started my term as we were coming out of the pandemic, and I got to witness from a front row seat the impact that the AHA made and the way it was able to be in the moment and the way that the organization under Nancy's leadership and the work of her team were able to respond to our various communities and the needs at that moment in time. I've gotten to see how we chose to reemerge and take the things that we know were our core strengths and project them forward, as well as make changes where changes were appropriate. I've gotten to be part of creating our vision for what the next 100 years of the association is going to look like. And I've gotten to serve with two amazing AHA presidents, in Dr. Don Lloyd-Jones and Dr. Michelle Albert. And so while my time is limited in terms of what I can share, and it certainly won't do justice, I have to say the impact that the AHA has had in my life is something that I will be forever and deeply grateful for as long as I can remember. So thanks so much.
Well, congratulations to Michelle and Ray. And by the way, American Heart Association CEO Nancy Brown would also like to offer her congratulations to these two AHA leaders.
Thanks, Sonia. And Ray and Michelle, I just needed to wedge myself into this program at this point to say thank you to both of you for your incredible leadership during your terms as chairperson of the board and as president of the AHA. You know, when I think of both of you, I think of your vision and your trailblazing approach to helping to lead this great organization. Both of you have set a standard that others follow and will seek to follow for years to come. The AHA is a better organization today because of your leadership. And as we heard both from Joe and Marcia, you both lead such very busy lives outside of the unending time you've given to the American Heart Association during your terms. We'll never, ever thank you enough for all that you have meant to this organization. And selfishly, to me personally, you both have been wonderful colleagues and supporters to all of the staff. And we're so grateful to you. And we congratulate you on really successful terms as president and chair. Thanks, Sonia. Back to you.
All right, Nancy, thank you. And congratulations again to Michelle and Ray. And now for our final awards of the evening, the Gold Heart Awards. This is AHA's highest volunteer honor for a lifetime of engagement. Dr. Gary Gibbons is here to present the first Gold Heart Award to Dr. Ivor Benjamin.
A wonderful honor and privilege to have the opportunity to present the American Heart Association Gold Heart Award to my long-standing friend and colleague, Dr. Ivor Benjamin. I can think of no one who embodies the spirit of the Gold Heart Award more than Dr. Benjamin. He's had a life full of passion and purpose, built on the principles of family and faith, service, and giving to others, that in many ways exemplifies what's so wonderful about volunteers of the American Heart Association. It's been my privilege to know him for over 40 years. Indeed, many of our life courses have intersected in many stages along this journey. Who Ivor Benjamin is today reflects back to his childhood in Guyana. He's told stories about his grandma and how she had a stroke when he was just 9 years old. That's when the seeds, I believe, of that passion and compassion for patients, as well as that giving heart, began, and those seeds were set. We intersected along the way as he enjoyed leadership positions. One was when we both were part of a pipeline program to expand the number of underrepresented minorities in medicine at Cornell. And always there was that sense of inclusive excellence with our shared interest in cardiovascular disease and science, and how to bring that to service and patient care. He's been a volunteer with the American Heart Association from the very beginning, to the point where he served on councils and eventually rose to the presidency, 2018. I congratulate my dear friend, Dr. Ivor Benjamin, for a well-deserved receipt of the American Heart Association Gold Heart Award.
Wow, what an extraordinary privilege it is for me this evening to have such a warm welcome and commentary from a dear friend, Dr. Gary Gibbons, the director of the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute. Ladies and gentlemen, I would be remiss if I did not begin by expressing my sincere thanks to parents who are no longer with us, but whose heart of gold sacrificed to provide this young man an opportunity to lead a life of service. Dr. Gibbons and I actually met as undergraduates, juniors in college, as part again of that earlier pipeline program. I then went on, of course, to the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine, where I came under the tutelage of Dr. Bernadine Healy. I published my first paper in AHA's flagship journal, Circulation. Dr. Healy, of course, is a former president of the American Heart Association, and was the first woman to become director of the National Institutes of Health. But I do not wish to really take as much time to say that my really passion for the American Heart Association actually happened quite by serendipity, where through mentors like past President Augustus Grant, I became under, of course, the mentorship of Dr. Sandy Williams, who came to UT Southwestern as chief of cardiology. And Nancy, you remember that because quickly I got my first grant with the American Heart Association, and I was hooked for life. I have been extraordinarily privileged with opportunities to volunteer and leadership, be it the research committee, scientific publication committee, and obviously, of course, the highlight being president of the American Heart Association. But the depth and breadth of the American Heart Association is truly global. It impacts the lives of even those who are in communities where I came from. And in my service now on the World Heart Federation, that impact continues. So I would be finally able to say that I have been extraordinarily blessed to have as my life's partner and wife, Carol Benjamin, and the mother of our 3 children, Dr. Lawrence Benjamin, Alexander Benjamin, and Karis Benjamin. I owe so much to them for everything that it means to me. And of course, with my fellow honoree, the enormous impact and how much I have benefited from the extraordinary volunteers within the American Heart Association. So as I bid you goodwill, thank you again, Dr. Gibbons. Thank you again, Nancy. Congratulations to both Ray Vera and my dear friend and fellow Guyanese, Dr. Michelle Albert. I'm extraordinarily privileged, and I will honor this for the rest of my life. Thank you.
And thank you, Dr. Benjamin. As Monique put it in the YouTube comments, you truly have a gold heart. Thank you so much. Well, the final award of the evening will be presented to Jim Postal by 2 very special people who perhaps know Jim the best.
Good evening. I'm Erin Postal, Jim Postal's daughter. My sister Jen and I are so honored to present our dad, longtime American Heart Association volunteer and former chairman of the association, with the American Heart Association Gold Heart Award.
Our dad's commitment to service and giving back has been constant, especially since his official, unofficial retirement. I remember vividly his dedication to fundraising and organizing aid during Hurricane Katrina and how impressively he championed for people in need. He also brought his enthusiasm and commitment to the American Heart Association and its mission, and his ability to mobilize employee groups and business executives for a greater purpose is profound.
Dad was always very proud and honored to serve as a trusted leader for the organization. First as a volunteer, then chair of the International Committee, and eventually chairman of the board. He's brought decades of volunteer leadership to steer the association during a tremendous period of growth in science and innovation. Under his tenure, more than 25 years ago, the association honed its international strategy, now impacting heart and brain health in more than 100 countries, and launched several strategically focused research networks focused on AFib, vascular disease, and brain health in aging populations.
Advocacy is also very near and dear to Dad's heart. He was so proud to witness legislation expanding access to care for heart attack and stroke patients, and new guidelines for blood pressure, cholesterol management, and stroke care launched under his term. The positive impact of these monumental advancements will be felt for years to come for countless individuals and families.
Many of those who work closely with our dad have said his staff and volunteer mentorship is among his greatest contributions. He's known for challenging those around him, including his children, to be their best.
Tonight, we're so proud to present you with the 2023 American Heart Association's Gold Heart Award.
Congratulations, Dad.
Oh my goodness. These are my extraordinary daughters, and of whom I'm so proud, and now I'm entirely ruined. And any comments I'm going to make, but you know, to say that I'm thankful for those words blows me away. But so this is an extraordinary honor. It's made more extraordinary by my daughters being here, but also being together with my good friend Ivor Benjamin, who is also a Gold Heart recipient. So, my experience with the AHA goes back to 1999, but my experience with heart disease goes back much further. My father died of a heart attack in 1967 at the frighteningly young age of 54. And more recently, my wife, Beverly, suffered a heart attack in 2016. So, I've really appreciated the opportunity to support AHA's mission of saving lives. In these last 24 years, I have marveled at the level of innovation that I've seen and experienced. And I've worked at and led some great public companies, but the level of innovation driven by the AHA is at least the equal of any of those. So, as I think about examples of that extraordinary innovation, I think about One Brave Idea and the Institute of Precision Medicine. So I've been involved for 24 years, and I've been given many opportunities to serve and have held just about every position that a lay volunteer can hold. I've chaired the Houston Heart Walk, actually for 3 years, until I finally got it right and they let me then go on to do something else. I've chaired the Houston Heart Ball, the Houston Board, the Southwest Regional Board, and most significantly, I've chaired the National Board. And during my time as national chair, we streamlined the operating model of the AHA to make it more efficient and impactful. And this was critically important as during the pandemic, it allowed us to pivot quickly to ensure that we continued to thrive. So all of these have been extraordinarily rewarding experiences. It continues to be my honor to serve on the national board and to chair the international committee and our $500 million Second Century campaign. From the very beginning, I've worked with some incredible staff members. And for the last 15 years, I've had the pleasure of working closely with Nancy Brown, who I have often said could be the CEO of just about any public company. The AHA is very, very lucky to have her. I've made some of the very best friends of my life working with the AHA, and I count many of our current and past national board members in that group of my BFFs. I want to thank everyone for supporting and encouraging me on my AHA journey. And very particularly, I want to thank my wonderful wife, Beverly, for her unending support, which has allowed me to succeed in my corporate life as well as with the AHA. And I want to thank my daughters for blowing me away and making me cry. And thank you all.
All the surprises tonight have just been wonderful. And by the way, as Radhika says in the YouTube comments, daughters are the best. Congratulations, dear Jim. And I'd like to extend a huge congratulations to Ivor, Jim, and everyone who was recognized tonight. A very special thank you to Ray, Michelle, and Nancy for hosting us this evening. And now for our closing remarks, I'll turn things back over to Ray.
Great. Thanks so much, Sonia. And what an amazing evening we've had together, recognizing our awardees, and certainly emotion filled. You know, I got to sort of be backstage as I watched Jim's face when he saw his daughters come onto the screen, and that made it all worthwhile. That coupled with the emotion that was shared throughout the evening by all the awardees. And so I just want to congratulate everyone who is honored this evening and just give them our very best and greatest congratulations.
So I want to congratulate you too, Ray, for the amazing impact you've had in the organization. And I want to say that, this evening is leaving me with some goosebumps because, it that you're surrounded by people who are awesome. But, sort of when it's presented in a more formal setting, you really, really see what you're really, sort of enfolded by. So I'm filled with so much admiration for all of you and really inspired by what you give to others every single day.
And Michelle, I'll pop in again to congratulate you and Ray on your incredible leadership and to say, I couldn't agree with you more. We started the evening with tears. We ended the evening with tears. And, there was so much joy and happiness and emotion all the way through. And I think that's the power and the magic of the American Heart Association. There are amazing volunteers and staff that would walk to the end of the earth to support the mission of the AHA and to support each other. And that is our superpower. And I think this evening's honorees really demonstrated that in such a beautiful way. So all the honorees, you make us so proud. You have made a huge difference in the lives of people throughout this country and throughout the world. And we are so honored for the opportunity to work with you every single day. Thank you. And Sonia, I'm going to turn it back to you for the final wrap up.
Okay, yes, this evening always blows me away and really touches my heart. So thank you to everyone who joined us tonight. By the way, tonight's event is available on demand, so you can rewatch it. You can share it with your friends, your family, your colleagues. And from my heart to yours, congratulations to all of the awardees. And thank you to the presenters who did an amazing job highlighting why our awardees are so deserving. Good night.